Things all. I'm Jazz, and I'm creating this video just because I wanted to share some of the ideas that I find really interesting, and I think it would be really fun to explore some of these topics. It's just a random stream of consciousness, so I'm just going to be talking about these ideas. So, yeah, I study psychology, English literature, philosophy, and theology. And I absolutely love these subjects because they're all interconnected and they all relate to my favorite topic, which is the human mind. I think the mind is such a mysterious concept. And the power of the human mind, it's one of the most powerful forces in the universe, I believe. And, there's still so much we don't know, but I think that we all have the potential to use our mind to make our lives better and to, you know, change the way that we view ourselves and interact with reality. So, something that really interests me is our internal narrative. We all have a story inside our head that we can hear. We all have these words um, that kind of tell us about the world. And I believe that we have the possibility, the potential to change these thoughts if needed. So, for example, in the past, I used to tell myself stories um, such as, you know, no one will love me, or I'll never be successful, or, there's no meaning in my life. And these stories that I could hear in my mind um, made me feel quite negative. I had quite a pessimistic view of the world, and I didn't really love myself. But after a while, I realized that I think it is possible for me to change these thoughts. So I started listening to positive affirmations. I started doing gratefulness exercises, and I began to reprogram my mind. And instead of telling myself, I'll never be loved, I told myself that, you know, I will be loved, and that I will succeed in life. And at first, it felt like I was lying to myself. Um, I didn't truly believe it. But after a while, I really did start to believe these things, and genuinely, my life changed because my perspective did. So, yeah, like, I believe that what you focus on um, and what you pay attention to and the story that you tell yourself really is so important. And so many people um, are unconscious and don't actually realize the way that their internal narrative is affecting their reality. So yeah, I think it can be used for good and to make your experience of life more enjoyable. Of course, it isn't always possible to do that, but I think in many cases it is. So yeah, I love thinking about stuff like my internal narrative because it relates to belief systems, which are also another very interesting thing to me. Like your belief system about yourself, others, the world, that influences everything in your life. Um, so, for example, religion. I was raised as a Christian with a belief in a higher power, that there was a God. Um, And, this means that the experiences that I have in my life, um, I've always thought that everything that happens is because of God. And, you know, this faith, this hope, this belief in this invisible force of God um, really has made my experience of life, um, I believe, more meaningful to me because in the past, I remember I was taught that, the Big Bang happened and that there was no meaning to life. But I really do believe that when we look at the stories of creation, like Genesis, or if we look at ancient Greece or ancient Egypt, with all these stories of supernatural figures with powers, of all these myths, of these entities, the spirits of the earth that have created us for a reason, that made me feel so much more in love with myself. And it made me have a purpose, believing in a God made me realize that I was created by intelligent design and that I was put here on this earth for a reason. That's just my belief system. Um, and I believe that that helps me in my life, when I'm going through difficult times and when I feel like I'm losing hope, whenever I think about God or these mystical creatures, when I think about the supernatural spiritual experiences I've had, um, you know, it kind of gives meaning in a way. Um, and yeah, related to that is, thinking about the afterlife and heaven and hell and, whether, or even just reincarnation, like that helps me feel so much less afraid of death and so much more motivated to live a good life. I know that good is subjective, but to me, believing in an afterlife makes me want to, be a good person and to, do things that are good for this world and universe. So, yeah, I think that believing that we have a creator um, can help us realize maybe that we do have a destiny and that we do have a fate potentially. Um, so yeah, related to belief systems um, is my love of the subject of philosophy and specifically one philosopher, Descartes, who questioned whether life was a dream or not. He thought life was um, like a dream. And I remember thinking, wow, you know, it changed my perception of reality. Because, dreams are so realistic and they feel like reality, but then when you wake up, you realize that it was all a dream. And thinking about life in that way as well has made me less afraid of, what's after this life. When I think about death and stuff, believing that this may be a dream it gives me hope because it means that there may be a chapter after the end of this story, you know. Um, so yeah, that belief that this may not be all there is um, in the beyond really does, it's just so exciting to me because in dreams anything can happen, like you go on strange adventures and you meet these characters and you can do all of these supernatural things and fly and it's just like it's wow, it's so cool. But yeah, so related to talking about dreams and having powers. So as human beings on Earth, we've been kind of programmed with these certain beliefs as we've been growing up about ourselves and the world. And I believe that something that a lot of people don't actually believe in, but I think maybe they should, is that we as human beings are magical and we have superpowers. Um, I believe that us just existing here right now, you perceiving me and me perceiving you, is magical. And I believe that we have um, so many um, we have so much potential and we have so many amazing qualities about ourselves as a species um, that we can use to make this world a better place, and that we can use our creation we can use our creativity and our imagination and our um, our connection to the supernatural and the divine to create um, an amazing world and a story. The story that we tell ourselves about who we are changes things. I believe that the human mind is magical, and the imagination, the way that we can visualize things, it's like there's a TV screen inside your head. The way that, you know, um, I can see the past in my mind like it's a film. That's so magical. It's like everything that we experience is, in a way, magical. Um, so yeah, and I think that when we pay attention to these things about ourselves and the world, and when we look up to the stars and the sky and the sun and all of the beautiful planets and the beautiful natural world around us, when we look at focus on these things, we can see that there is beauty in this world. So, yeah, these are just a few of the ideas that I like to think about um, that make me feel happier and more positive. Because, sometimes in life, when we focus on certain things, it can make us feel, depressed. But yeah, thinking about these things is really interesting to me. Um, and I'd love to hear your opinions and thoughts about some of the topics I have spoken about. Um, philosophy, psychology, art, English literature. All of these things are so fascinating. So, yeah, thank you for listening. I've been Jazzy J. See you later.